I feel like this one is interesting, and it's kind of like the opposite of the first one we did. So it could be a good like perspective moment.
Yeah.
Am I the asshole for asking my daughter-in-law to stop making social media posts that make me look bad? I have a son, Ryan, male 22. Ryan has a wife, Holly, female 22. They got married and moved in together around 4 months ago after dating for 3 years. I'm really happy for them. There's just a small problem though. Holly has recently started making posts on social media with jokes about how horrible mother-in-laws are all the time. When seeing them, I thought I did something to upset Holly. I asked her about it and she insisted that I hadn't upset her and that she just posts them because she thinks they're funny. I asked Ryan about it and he said that Holly never seemed upset at me and told me I'm overthinking it. But Holly keeps making these posts. The rest of the family have even been asking me if everything is okay between me, Ryan, and Holly because they've seen the post too. The last straw was when Holly made a post about arguments with mothers-in-law. Now everyone in my family thinks I argued with Holly when that didn't even happen. I asked Holly about it again and she said that once again she just posted it because she thought it was funny, not anything actually personal to me. I told Holly that she's making me uncomfortable and that she's making my family think I'm being horrible to her. Holly said that's not her problem and that people need to learn how to take a joke. I asked Holly to stop making these posts because people aren't going to interpret them that way. Holly said I'm being unreasonable and told me I can't tell her what to do and said I'm a bossy jerk. This is like the opposite, right? Of like one of the first or second stories we talked about. Because it's like not everything's about you, but like this is literally about her.
Yes, it has to be.
It has to be. Holly seems immature.
Yeah. I mean, she's 22.
True.
That frontal lobe.
Oh, yeah. It still has a few more years of forming.
It's still on its way. Wait, I sent you something and it was like when I'm 25 and my frontal lobe like arrives on my doorstep on my doorstep or something.
Yeah, she seems like she hasn't gotten her package in the mail yet.
If you're gonna make these like sensitive posts that could be interpreted directly about someone in your life, I feel like you've got to spread it out and do father-in-law posts, husband posts, like sister posts.
Yeah, like if you just think like
it seems targeted.
Yeah.
If you only do the same one joke over and over again.
Right. Like if you make the same joke over and over and over again, at what point is it no longer a joke?
Yeah.
Because I feel like jokes, this might not be true with everything, but I feel like a lot of jokes are rooted in truth. And that's why they're funny. Like if you watch a comedian or like stand-up comedy or whatever, all the jokes like pretty much relate to real life and that's why they're funny. So what is making these jokes and what is making them funny? Like what's the punchline?
Yeah, exactly.
Or is the punchline that anyone who finds them funny actually just finds them relatable because they don't get along with their mother-in-law? I feel like maybe that's what it is. I think she doesn't like the mother-in-law and she's doing it on purpose.
I feel like the general consensus with social media, it's like if you repost something, it's typically because you find it relatable.
Right.
Because, like, I find stuff funny, but I don't find it relatable, so I'm probably not going to, like, repost it. I don't really repost in general, but...
Yeah. I know that I'm not, like, going to be able to think of, like, every possible example of a joke about a mother-in-law right now, but, like, I am really struggling to think about one thing that would be, like, a joke about a mother-in-law that I think would be funny. Because I do not have a mother-in-law. So I'm like, really, what would be like, if you don't have fights with your mother-in-law, what makes posts about fighting with your mother-in-law funny? And like, what makes them a joke? Like, it just doesn't make sense. I wish we had examples of like what they were.
Yeah.
Because she's just posting jokes about how horrible mother-in-laws are. Like, what does that mean? Those are not jokes.
No.
Like, maybe they're lighthearted statements, but I think the people that relate to them know that they're true. Like, maybe the way that they're delivered is lighthearted and maybe that makes them funny. But at the end of the day, like, the root of the statement is true.
Yeah, it just makes me think, like, people make a lot of jokes about, like, Philly fans, like, sports fans being aggressive, and I feel like I see a lot of, like, Philly residents reposting or whatever, sharing those posts, and it's funny because it's relatable, but it's also maybe they're talking about themselves or, like, a friend or...
And there's truth to it.
And there's truth to it, but... The minute someone from like outside of Philly maybe posts something like that, it seems more like a dig at Philly than it does just like a joke.
Yes.
If you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah. It just feels like it's kind of more like a dig at her mother-in-law than a joke.
It would almost be like if the mother-in-law posted it and was like, mother-in-laws are so like
Crazy,
horrible. Like, yeah,
yeah.
like the crazy in-laws, like the crazy grandma that can't give up time with her grandkids. Like if a grandmother or a mother-in-law, whatever, posted that, they'd be like, LOL, yes, so true. Like, I just love my grandkids. I love my kids so much that I never leave them alone. Like, blah, blah, blah. Like, but then when someone else is posting the negative thing about the mother-in-law, it's like, no, you find that funny because you believe it.
Right.
You believe what the post is saying.
Yes,
you agree.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not a joke.
Exactly.
Yeah. I just think that, like, in a majority of those things, like, the reason you think it is funny and entertaining is because you agree with it. Mm-hmm. And I think Holly's giving herself away.
Yeah.
That's really weird. I mean, she definitely has like resentment towards the mother-in-law, but why is the question.
And it's just like, it's surprising to me, but maybe like, I don't know her, so maybe it's not surprising, but she's just seemed to be so blatant about this.
Yeah.
And then she's denying it. It's a weird situation to me.
I'm going to give her like the slightest benefit of the doubt and be like, maybe she is just dumb.
Yeah.
Like maybe she does just for some weird ass reason think that these random hurtful jokes are funny and she's valid in what she's saying. Mm-hmm. I just think that the chances of that being the case are slimmer than maybe just what we actually think.
Yeah. Or maybe she has like a sister or a friend who has a bad mother-in-law and they complain to her a lot.
Yeah.
So she kind of is thinking these posts are funny because she can kind of relate by default, I guess.
I could see that, actually. I could see that. Like, if all of her friends are dealing with it and they talk to her all day and they're like, well, guess what she did now? Mm-hmm. And Holly's like, oh my God, my mother-in-law doesn't do that, but that is crazy.
Yeah.
And then she sees these posts and she's like, oh, well, 10 of my friends just had the same thing. Like, haha, that is true. That is really true. And then she reposts it.
Yeah.
I could definitely see that being a possibility.
But, like, the thought would still cross my mind, like, I hope my mother-in-law doesn't take offense to this.
Yes.
Like, as I'm posting it, I can't imagine it doesn't cross her mind that it could be, like, interpreted negatively.
And then also, even if she didn't think about it, like, maybe in her mind, she's like, oh, well, I don't have a negative relationship with anyone, so there's no way that anyone in my life is going to think this is about them.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, that's fine if you thought that. But then when that person actually approaches you and tells you this is hurtful, people are coming to me thinking that these posts are about me, like it would just be so much easier if you could tell me to my face or just stop making the posts. Mm-hmm. It's hurting me. And then at that point, she still is like, oh, well, it's not about you, so I'm going to keep doing it. It's like, why? Like, what's more important to you? Sharing a meme on Facebook or having a positive relationship with your mother-in-law?
That's a tough one.
It's tough for Holly.
Yeah.
I think.
It sounds like it.
She's insane. Ugh. The top comment was, not the asshole. Holly is 100% doing this on purpose. If she has an issue with you, she should talk to you about it like a reasonable adult instead of making passive-aggressive points. Also, allowing everyone else in your family to believe that you had an argument with her that didn't happen is incredibly manipulative on Holly's part. I agree with that. And I think that if you were going to share something like this about your friend's situation, the easiest way to do it would be saying, OMG, I've heard so many stories about this, so this makes me giggle, but I'm extra thankful that my mother-in-law is so great and I can't relate, or like something like that.
Some disclaimer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally doing a disclaimer being like, this is hilarious because my mother-in-law is the opposite or something like that. But her just throwing these up and not giving any disclaimer, like it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Ugh, she's so annoying.
Holly.
The second top comment is, but Holly sure sounds like a peach. Humor is only funny if it doesn't hurt anyone. True.
Yeah.
Fight fire with honey, though. If you use social media, just post some really nice things about family and make sure she's included. Have a nice visit. Post about how thankful you are for your visits with family. I kind of like that, too.
Yeah.
But it's also like, why should this mother-in-law now have to go out of her way to use Facebook and like post about her family events just so that people don't read too far into Holly's random posts? Like, ugh, she's so annoying.
Yeah, that is very annoying.
I feel like the son needs to talk to her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ew. That's so annoying. People are so stubborn sometimes.
I know.
I feel like it comes
crazy
with stubbornness, this one. It's like, what's the reason? Like, it's going to make everyone's life easier if you don't post a meme on your Facebook. Like, social media, it's not that deep. Let it go.
Yeah.